Hello guys, welcome to the gold forecast for week commencing June the 22nd to June the 26th. So that's week commencing June 22nd to June the 26th. Okay, so this is video number 6, I believe. That means there are other videos I talk about forecasting, and I'll try my best to explain in summary what we're doing here. So there are two things I'm trying to do. Well, as a trader, there are two things I'm trying to do. The first is understand where trades happen. So where is the trade going to happen? So think of that as a location. And the second part is when the trade happens. Now, these videos, the forecast videos, are designed to answer the first part, which is location. So I do this primarily by using auction levels. So on my chart right now, we have these levels drawn on. And you can think of these levels like again, support and resistance, demand and supply levels, but I call them auction levels. And normally what I would do is draw a line based on touch points. But over the years, I've decided to create an indicator for myself so it's not public and it does it automatically for me. Now, I don't want to switch on the indicator because then it looks a bit messy. So I've manually drawn on those lines. So why use these lines? Well, because price moves from one auction level to the next. So that's the logic. Okay, so I just call them auction levels. You may hear me say equilibrium levels, but I think I've settled on auction levels. So price is moving from one auction level to the next auction level. That's all it's doing. Last week, I told you I'm still bearish. That means any price action below that SMA, that's this red line, any action below that is bearish to me. Every time price goes up, that's just a retracement. And I mentioned the 4,400 level last week. Why did I mention that level? That level is the auction level above us. So at the time it was above us, I said price potentially, again, not a prediction, could go there. And if it does go there, that's just giving you a perfect opportunity to short, which I did. I took that opportunity and I shorted at that level. So let's talk about targets and the remaining levels. So below us, obviously, we have the 4,000 level, which was from last week, the TP2, or 2 weeks ago, can't remember now. But I took a short here and all the way down to 4,200, and that was my TP1, and then TP2 was 4,000. And I was out of the trade once we got this retracement. And then I said I'm going to re-enter the trade at 4,400, which I have. So where are the targets? The TP1 for me right now is 3,500. However, for next week, so week commencing 22nd, there are currently 4 auction levels below us. I'll scroll up, squash up the charts right now. So we've got 3,750, give or take. Okay, so these numbers add, take away plus 20, 30 to align with your futures chart. So 3,008, we give or take 50, 850, let's say 850. Then there's 750, 3,750, 3,650, and then that's the 500. Now, based on my own sort of observation, I don't think price is going to interact with those auction levels, those minor ones. It may not, but I don't think it will. The reason is because if you assume for 1 second that I'm correct, let's just say you assume I'm correct. That means that the move from this all-time high to 3,500, which is our projected terminal location, which by the way is also an auction level, that would mean that we are in the final 25% of the entire Dino range. And because we are in the last 25% of the Dino range, the expectation is price will move a lot quicker, right? Quickly. That's why I said last week, if you get that opportunity to sell at the 4,400 level, then my expectation is price will move very quickly to the terminal position, right? It will move to that 3,500. The 3,500, by the way, does not align in any way, shape, or form with the professionals. Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, these guys have their level at 5,000 plus. Okay, 5,000 plus. And mine obviously is at 3,500, but again, that's a 2026 level. If you are bullish, then the next auction level above us, as in us today, Friday. Yes, this video is being done on Friday, so it gives you guys the weekend to watch this. So we're currently at 4,150, give or take, Friday, which is a holiday. Above us, the closest auction level is 4,750. Okay, but for me, we have to get above the moving average, which is this red line. So hopefully I've covered all of the levels I'm watching for next week. So for next week, two very obvious levels is the 4,000, then the 3,850. However, like I said, I don't expect those levels to hold. By hold, I mean I don't expect price to interact with those levels in any meaningful way. So typically, there's three interactions you'll get. Um, you'll get what looks like a breakout interaction. So price will go to the level, do a little speed bump move, and then break in the same direction. Then you have reversals. Price goes to the level, violent reversal, V shape, U shape, goes away from it. Then there are what I like to call plateauing moves. So this will include churning, seek and destroys, consolidations, and minor retracements. Okay, that's what you're expecting to see when price gets to these auction levels. That's why the auction levels are critical in terms of the forecasting. So now you know how I got 3,500. It's actually just a fib extension, 161, based on all-time highs. So if you extend it downward, that's 161. But also that's also a auction level. So they overlap. That's why that is my 2026 target. That sort of concludes that main part of the video, which is, well, actually the part of the video that is really about forecasting. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit about the next part. So remember I said there's two things I'm trying to understand. The where location and the when. When is more the sexy part. It's the bit that a lot of people like to listen to. But if you don't want to listen to that bit, of course, this is the end of the video. But I'll talk a little bit about what I do once I get to a location. So once my mindset shifts from location, I just drop down to a lower time frame. It can be any lower time frame, but for gold specifically, it's always the 1 hour or above. It can be 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, it doesn't matter. Just wherever it makes sense, wherever it makes sense. And all I'm looking for is a reason, or as people say in VSA world, a case or cause for price to move in my bearish direction. Okay, so my bias, because I'm bearish, I'm looking for a cause, a bearish cause. We had one right here on the 1 hour. So just two-step fib, price goes down, price goes back up as a retracement into your kill box, 50, between 50 and 70%. That's it. Below the SMA, perfect. Okay, this is where all the sexy stuff happens, right? Liquidity sweeps, fair value gaps, IFVGs, order blocks, all the sexy stuff. This is where it happens. So you can see this entire move like a I'm going to speculate here, by the way, because I know nothing about ICT. This looks like a market maker sell model, right? Now, if you're a VSA person, that's where I'm from, VSA, this is just part of a cycle, right? So you've got accumulation, markup, distribution, markdown, and then it just keeps repeating. That cycle keeps repeating. Um, so that's really it. I mean, the sexy stuff. That's the stuff people like to talk about. But the reality really is if you want to break it down to the basics, there's only really two things I'm looking for. Location. Where is the trade going to happen? Where? What's the location? And once I know what that is, I can switch my mindset to when is the trade going to happen. So I'm looking for something very specific to happen at that location. If I was bullish and price goes down, then my mindset would be, well, that's just a retracement. So I'm going to wait for price to get to the next auction level to then look for a cause or a reason to buy, right? And I may be wrong. I may be right. Who knows? So for next week, I think we can summarize and say still bearish. However, we are in that 25% of the entire day range. So I don't expect the auction levels to hold. That doesn't mean it wouldn't hold. The first one, of course, is at 4,000, which you guys can already see here. This one right here. Okay, that's the 4,000. But below that 4,000, 3,850, then 3,750, then 3,650, and then 3,500. Now, if we may, of course, it is a forecast, not a prediction. So it's very possible we don't even get there. We reverse and go to 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Okay, but just for next week, my forecast still is bearish for the week. So I'm expecting a bearish week. Worst case scenario, indecisive week where price doesn't do much but stays in the middle or something, but a bearish week. But for 2026, my overall target is 3,500. So once we get there, I will be a little bit disappointed because if we get there early before, you know, half the year's gone, then what happens for the rest of the year, right? That's kind of my mindset, right? What happens for the rest of the year? Because we pretty much hit the yearly target. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. There's 5 more videos like this. I think there's 6 in total. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. If you want me to do something specific, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.